What did you think you were good at until someone else came in and wiped the floor with you? Mortal Kombat easily. I would play with my friends and usually beat them. So I tried playing online. My first online match. The guy hit me in the air once and I was dead before I even hit the floor. Haven't played online since. Wrestling. I started freshman year. Won one match all year. But I dropped 40 pounds so I came back again. Won 7 matches. Came back again. Won 16 matches. Came back senior year. Undefeated half the year. Set the pin record for the school. Took second at districts by 1 point. Went to state. Won my first match. Then I got my butt handed to me by the next 2 people. Not even a competition. They basically took 215 pound me, rolled me into a ball and walked away. The only reason that the matches were longer than a round was because they were so good that their coaches would not allow them to finish the match by pin until they had scored a certain number of points. I thought maybe they were outliers. So when I went to a D1 college I tried to get on the team. Surely I could catch up. The second string wrestlers wiped the floor with me constantly until the coaches asked me to stop coming to the practices because I was an insurance liability. Pretty much same thing happened to me. Undefeated in my last year of high school until I went to nationals and wrestled some insanely strong Russian kid. I lost in probably about 5 seconds after he grabbed me and suplexed me onto my back. And he didn't even place in the tournament. Slap fighting. We used to have a slap fight club during the graveyard shift in the valet lot of an Indian casino. I was undefeated until one of the new employees stepped up. He slapped the crap out of me, both cheeks swollen red for days. Turns out he was a boxer until he hurt his back. I didn't fight after that. Instead I started a new league for wheelchair jousting and would later move on to off-road golf cart expeditions. That was a fun job. Jesus, it's like the Disability Olympics. I was the best singer in my high school. I went to college for musical theater and quickly found that I was mediocre at best. Being average amongst the best just means you are one of the best. Ping pong. I was my middle school and high school champion, though I never competed outside my school. I got to college and briefly joined the club team and realized I had only been good because no one could return my serve. Everyone on the club team could return my serve and then some. Prior to online gaming being mainstream, I used to think I was a bad butt gamer. Went to my first LAN party with strangers present. Got my butt handed to me. It was my nephew did it for me. Little bastard picks up a game he's never played and beats me 5 minutes later. Feckin' youngins. Basketball. That's all I did in high school. I would play in between classes. I would go to train 5 days a week and I would play some more in my neighborhood's courts. I thought I was good. Then I went to college, went for team trials and found out the truth. You can be good at basketball and still be absolute crap. I play a lot and am at a level now where I'd be considered good by people who don't play. Played some 21 with a few random guys the other day and this one dude literally could not miss if he tried. I may have unwittingly been playing against a former college player, but it's more likely he was just an average bro. My grandfather did this to me from the dead. I was 20 and working heavily in the biolopids lab making control stuff for our new Langmuir troughs. I thought I was the best wire wrapper and solderer in the world. I didn't need to use wire wrapping, but I did just to show off. My grandmother asked me to help clean her garage and let me keep my grandfather's old stuff. He worked for Control Systems Incorporated and was in Houston during the Apollo flights. Anyways, I'll look at his collection of plug-in circuit boards and am awed. I've been told many times he didn't have great patience and was a jerk, but these handmade boards I found were skillfully made. That must have taken a long time. Perfect temp for soldering. Tight wire wrapping that survived 20 years. Perfectly uniform height of components. Perfect bends. Over 100 little boards used to correct analog computers for timing and voltage. His components were organized meticulously and secure. I've never put that much effort into anything at that time nor since. I want to, but I'm not that type of guy. Going through other things of his and looking around his house, it's very easy to see what he cared about vs what he didn't. What he cared about. That's the trick right there. You have to want it. Not want it like you want world hunger to end. The other kind of want. When you ask the buff guy at the gym why he works out like that and he says I want to Like him. You need that kind of want. Go to uni. Chances are you're not as smart as you thought you were. Math. I was the top student in my high school. Got a university scholarship for it. Took AP Calc BC in 11th grade. But then I found out about the American Mathematics Competitions, AMC. Took it, and got destroyed. I got 10/25 questions correct, but who I looked at American Invitational Math Examination, USAMO, USA Mathematical Olympiad, and IMO, International Mathematics Olympiad, questions and solutions, and they were like written in another language. In the US, the AMC is the first of a series of tests to determine who qualifies for the IMO, the M and USAMO being the second and third round and progressively much more difficult. I never made it past the AMC. About 300,000 students take the AMC, 250 make it to the USAMO, and then 6 are ultimately selected for the IMO team. Freaking Pokémon. I shredded my whole friend group for years growing up, and then Wi-Fi happened. Turns out, using surprising strategies with your favorites works better on my friends than it does on Team Garcon plus whatever. On the other hand, as far as anyone around me knows, I'm still the best, because I can still beat their asses. I'll keep it that way. I'm not so great at freaking Pokémon. Charizard can be a bit frisky at times. Oh man, this one really hurt my ego. I used to participate in piano competitions, and to qualify for trophy classes you had to do a sight reading category. They'd pick an obscure piece at around a grade 10 RCM level. For people unfamiliar with piano, about a level of someone who'd have played for 10 years, and each participant would wait in a side room. One by one, we'd go out and each have a stab at the piece. You'd have 1 minute to look through it, and then would have to play it for the judges. So like one thing I'm really good at is sight reading. It's just from years and years of mostly finding hard video game arrangements and making YouTube videos of them. Like to me it just feels like reading a book of normal words out loud. It just translates easily to the piano for me. I'd do the same with classical, just like always bounce around between pieces, and just became very familiar and comfortable with different styles of writing. I was 18 years old, in the open category, so a bunch of 18+ year-old people. There's also a 10-year-old girl. We each take our turns. I got second place, with an 88%. 10-year-old girl got 97%, with the additional comment, one of the most outstanding interpretations of this piece I've ever heard in my career. You are an outstanding musician. My girlfriend was there and was like, wow, good job babe. But that little girl just hustled you. I just felt like such a loser. Like growing up, people would always be like, you can you play this song, and I'd just kind of wing it by ear and get it. Or just like find anything and just be able to play it well. I go to this competition, and the girl, who also won every other category, just completely destroyed me, and I was kind of grouped up with the people who were all men at sight reading. It doesn't seem like much, but like imagine spending like 12 years taking like golf lessons, getting to a level where you feel you can compete, you do well in competitions, but there's a 10-year-old kid who on the first hole gets a hole in one, and gets like 8 under par. You'd be like, goddamn that kid, like you don't want to be spiteful, but you're like, why do you have to be so godly? Drawing. Was practicing it on my own since 4th grade, decent enough to get into art college. First class of my first day was supposed to show off our best stuff. Kid my age comes in with photorealistic skills and spectacular stuff. I compliment him on it and ask how long he's been doing it. 2 years, but I'm not that good. Me. That was the day my confidence died. Freaking talented people with their I'm not that good balls. Drawing. Then in the middle of secondary school I met hundreds of other people and realized I'm mediocre at best. It definitely did me good. I realized that I don't have to be the best, that there will be people better than me, and to stop being so proud. In short, it was an eye-opener. Then you see art blogs from 16-year-olds that draw fantastic pieces and title them LOL. Bored LOL, and you at 25 struggles with simple forms and you thought you had it. Connect 4. Not even joking. My girlfriend's is a freaking beast at the game. She plays on another level where her traps have traps. I thought, oh, it's a game I could stalemate every time. Nope. Her story is she had a simple logic chip to play on and the computer didn't pull any punches. So when she started playing humans with flaws it was like taking off the weights. I used to crap on people on Tony Hawk's Underground. Absolutely dominated all of my friends without trying. I would always talk crap and always win, even playing against people I've never played before. One day I found out my little brother's friend played as well. I got all big about it, telling him I was going to kick his butt in a friendly way, not being a full-on butthole, and he humbly said, "Probably not, dude. I'm pretty good." Trick attack. Set timer 2 minutes. New York stage. My pick. 5 minutes after the timer expired, he was still on the same combo he started with. I lost. Kinda reversed in a way, but I thought professional celebrity singers were top 1% or something. Then I went to acting school and realized godlike singers weren't rare at all. We, and every other school we visited, had each at least 2 performers that could outclass a lot of the people earning millions in the business. Image sells more than talent. Wargaming, specifically Warhammer. I was pretty good at my local club, and a bunch of us went along to a tournament. First round, I was drawn against a guy who was ranked number 3 in the world. He got first turn, and I can't even explain what he did, but it was all perfectly legal. He just made a few turns of his men, a few moves, got a few spells off, and suddenly my entire army was trapped in a kill box. There was nothing I could do. I couldn't bring my best troops to bear against him. I spent my entire turn trying to get out of the net he'd created. Second turn he was smashing me left, right and center. Third turn it was all but over. He wiped my entire army out and didn't lose a single unit. For the rest of the tournament, I did pretty well. I ended up somewhere in the middle of the rankings in a 80-person tournament, which I was pleased with given the fact that I was tabled by this guy. Most wargamers aren't bad at club level, but there are a few guys who are exceptional and, unless they are unlucky with the dice, you can't believe the things they can see and do. When I was younger I used to play a bit of 40k. I always enjoyed it more as a game with friends rather than the competitive aspect. Tournaments would be the same matches over and over against the same Space Wolves Blood Angel Terminator army. It didn't help that I was playing 3rd ed Necrons. Sub-trash tear. I started play cello in 4th grade. From elementary school when I started to when I graduated HS. I was always the first or second chair. I earned a small music scholarship at my college. Not a lot but enough to cover books. From day one, I never felt so out of my element. I went from practicing 2 hours a day and excelling to practicing 4 hours a day and was barely able to tread water. It sucked all the fun out of the instrument. I made it through the first year and played at the Christmas concert in the School of Drama's musical, which I guess is pretty good for a freshman. Usually, they're alternates. I played my first sophomore semester then said frick it after the Christmas concert. I wasn't a music major and it was sucking the life out of me. Guitar. Then I saw some Jason Becker videos from when he was 15. I look like a kid struggling to play hot cross buns compared to him. His story is so tragic too. He hadn't even begun to reach his potential yet he was already putting out this fantastic stuff at like 19 and 20. Video games. I had been playing games since I was 6, and no one in my family or friends could beat me. It didn't matter what. Racing games, fighting games or party games. Then online gaming became a thing and I realized that maybe I'm not so great. Bulls, it's the fricking lag and that one butthole is an obvious hacker. How the frick has he not been banned yet? Frick that stupid frick-faced mother sucker and this one kid's mom keeps distracting me. That's the only reason I'm not winning. I was the best pianist our college had when I started there. I did a lot more stuff than any previous player. I also played jazz, which no one else did. Then came 2 girls who graduated high school early. One of them was just under my level when she started. Within the semester, she blew past me. The teachers kept loading her up with crazy crap and she just went with it. Incredible pianist. I've had the pleasure of playing duo with her several times. She's got almost a full ride at a pretty prestigious music school next year since she just graduated here. Meanwhile, I backed down on piano because I couldn't do with the stress of constantly learning really hard crap. Totally my decision, not affected by her at all. It isn't enjoyable for me if it's all study, so I started overdoing audio technology. If that girl wasn't there to blow me the frick away with her skills, I wouldn't have found what my true passion is. School. My tiger Asian parents and I thought that I would never reach my potential. To spite them, I switched majors to a social science that I really loved. Did great with very little effort, and then I decided to keep the charade going by trying to get a PhD. After a week, I realized I was in over my head and I was well behind everyone in my cohort. I left after 3 years and finally listened to my dad and went into the pharma industry to work for him. Thank God I did, BC I'm making more in the few years I've been doing this than I would even if I was tenured. At least now, I don't have any what ifs about my job. Thanks Dad. Foosball. I cleaned up at summer camp. Totally dominant. Undefeated. Played former world champion at a foosball meetup. He was the only guy there when I showed up and was playing by himself, and literally touched the ball once. I feel that on a personal level. Recently got back from a tournament thinking I was the crap by getting second place in the rookie event. Come home to my dad and friends and get my rookie butt handed to me. Star Wars trivia. Was having a large party early in college years and made a reference to something Star Wars related, and it just escalated with one guy. I didn't know him, but he got really aggressive about knowing more. We were standing face to face and a group of people surrounded us and we just whipped SW trivia questions back and forth. Each time we answered, the crowd of people would go on like a freaking rap battle or something. Anyway, about 20 questions down, he got me with one. I blanked. He threw his arms up and said, "Oh what now?" The crowd went nuts and I'm pretty sure he took a lady home from the party. Drawing. I was drawing all the time in elementary school. Pretty much the only one. Complimented all the time. I thought I was amazing. Then the new kid came along and he was so much better than I was. Well, it's not as good as his drawings, so painful at the time. Years later, I improved. Got to high school, then there was a whole bunch of people who were just so much better than I kinda gave up trying to improve. Now I just do it for fun. That's the key to being a successful artist. Accept that there will always be someone better than you, but never let it discourage you. Keep pushing, and don't try to outdo anyone but yourself. My biggest goal as an artist is to be a better one than I was last week. It's done wonders for my confidence in my work. Running. In the summer after 7th grade, I went to my usual summer camp and started running to get out of certain activities. I was pretty good, but the coaches there, a lot of whom saw the other kids there, who couldn't do long distance running for crap, and thought they were likely to be fairly average runners for my age group, thought I was the god of running. They boosted my ego into low orbit, telling me I was destined to be a cross-country runner. The following winter, I joined track and started running long distance. The best kid in my age group ran his 800 meters in 2:25, his 1500 meters in 5:15, and his 3000 meters in 10:45. My best times for those events were 2:40, 6 o'clock, and 12:10, respectively. SSBM. I was one of the top reigning champs in my high school. Just me and another guy, but he was a bit better than me though. We went to a few local SSBM tournaments where I did okay but got whooped by round 3. I pretty much gave up at that point and let go of my SSBM esport dreams. A classmate kept up with it and he's apparently a big name star in that community. For privacy reasons I won't say who, but I see him on the front page of Twitch every now and then. I mean, you may as well say it. If he's already well known, what's the difference? Unless you're some big name as well. Guitar Hero 10 years ago. Big fish, small pong scenario. I was the best amongst my local crowd. Had a fair amount of FCs, all of the easy tracks and most of the medium tracks on GH3. Hardest song I said was Welcome to the Jungle. Difficult for the average user but not much of a challenge for experienced users. It's been a long time since I've played any rhythm game, but I think it was usually around the 50th FC that people would get, out of 70ish. FC means full combo, meaning 100% of the song. Perfect streak. I make it to college, and there's a video gaming event pretty much every week. Truthfully, even in the college scene, I'm still top tier, and I was only getting better. but there's others of nearly comparable skill, the tiebreaker being that I could 5-star Jordan with a few tries. In comes this girl I hadn't seen before. We're having a bit of a tournament, and she crushes this poor kid. 100% the metal with little effort. Impressive for a dry run on a TV with unknown calibration. We make it to the finals, and the track was Cult of Personality. I've gotten some pretty high scores on the track in solo mode. I was actually capable of hitting all of the solos perfectly in practice, but I've never done them all in one run. This girl though, said it with an optimal SP route, crushed my score, which was pretty close to my high score on the track. Honestly, it was pretty awesome. Weird thing is that I never saw her after that. I guess the competition wasn't good enough. Smash Brothers. I could beat all of my friends. Even came out on top at a tournament at my high school. Then everything changed when online Smash came to be. Compared to all my brother's friends at uni college, I'm a super Smash Melee god, but online I'm meh. The original Starcraft. When I started playing online I was pretty good at it, winning way more than losing. That didn't last long. LOL, I can see it now. I played against a guy with these weird characters in his name. And I quit after that game. Lifting weights. 1. Being the biggest strongest dude in your gym. Until you go to a better gym, and half the people there make you look like a kid. 2. Having gotten pretty strong after a couple years, and looking back realizing, you from 5 years ago was convinced you were big and strong, but if current day you ran into you from back then, old you would get straight manhandled. The internet killed this for me. Nothing like our powerlifting to show you how weak you really are. 1k total equals weak unless you're a 130 pound female. Almost. Honestly, the internet kills a lot of these things mentioned in the thread, but lifting is probably the most prime example. Rapping. I have been writing rhymes and rapping for a few years, mostly as a hobby and a side project, and I thought I was pretty good. Then all of a sudden in college, I started meeting people who were way better than I could ever be. Age of Empires 2. I thought I was the real deal, then played online and they just fricked me up really quick. Go to learn about the Russian flush. Only then I start to be in peace again. I'm afraid to play online. I'll just keep kicking the computer's butt. This reminds me of when everyone played Pokémon GO when it first came out. Everyone was hyped as heck to take the gym with their 700 CP Pokémon. Then this massive C out of nowhere throws in a plus 2000 CP Gyarados. I quit. I freaking quit. My freaking sister dropped a 2300 in the only gym in this godforsaken town. It's been there since like a week after the game came out. Someone save me. Volleyball. I'm a guy who played high school volleyball, which is rare in and of itself. I got to college and tried out for a club team. I was easily the worst person at a 60-person tryout. I found out later that high school volleyball was a joke and real players learn in clubs. Super Smash Brothers. Melee. I thought I was good because I could beat my cousins pretty regularly. I played a new friend who said he was nationally ranked, and that was the moment I learned that I was not in fact good. I may as well have given my controller to my cat for that match. Mario Kart 8. Friday evening I was doing pretty good. I wouldn't say I was great, but consistently top 3 or 4 and feeling pretty good about myself. Then I tried a game the next morning. I noticed a lot of Japanese flags on the opponents. They are playing a whole different game over there. Hey, at least my items were always blow shells and chain jumps. For me it's the other way. Usually Japanese players suck at Smash, Kart, Splatoon and Pokken Tournament. It's from Germany and the Latin American countries you have to watch out for. I used to play Yu-Gi-Oh with a mishmash of cards that I thought were pretty good and think that I was the next king of games when I played the games and anyone who didn't already play. Then I went to my first local tournament and learned the ridiculous things people can do in one turn. Next time don't challenge your kid with spiky colored hair to a duel. RTS games. When Starcraft and Broadway was first released, me and my friends had a no rush rule so we could build up our armies, then go all out. Without that rule, I would literally die within 10 minutes. 4 Volt 1 Comp Stomp NR10. I always considered myself pretty good at chess until I joined chess club in high school. We had a tournament and the final match was between myself and a foreign exchange student from Belgium. He completely decimated me in a fairly low amount of moves. The biggest issue I have with chess is when I play the people who specialize in ending the game quickly. You can't focus on your own opening when you have to be thinking ahead to survive the first 5 to 10 moves in order to beat them later on when their position comes back to bite them. That sucks some of the fun out of the game for me. Baseball. I was a lefty that had a fastball that topped out at about 88 miles per hour with pretty good movement and command. My curveball and slider were pretty nice too. All through high school I was almost always the fastest throwing pitcher, and in the rare instance I wasn't. They weren't a lefty. I get a D1 scholarship, and find out on the first day, they have 4 lefties on the roster that throw in the low 90s with better movement and command than me, and better off-speed pitches too. I never rose above the guy they bring in to face one left-handed hitter, and was not drafted into MLB. Swimming in high school. I would win competitions all the time until one year I got smashed by one guy. I still got second but I actually gave up swimming cause of that. I'm 23 now and out of shape. Instant regret. I remember as a younger kid when I got the Nintendo DS. I played that thing night and day, and when I got Mario Kart DS I feel like I doubled my playtime. This was around the time when Wi-Fi was becoming popular. And I remember begging my dad to get Wi-Fi so that I could use this magical signal to play online with people around the world. Surely, memorizing each track front to back, playing on the hardest difficulty, 150cc, and locking every character, and perfectly drift boosting every corner like it was my job would make me a world-renowned badass. I had played Mario Kart 64, Double Dash, Game Boy Advance. I was ready. My dad told me that he was getting Wi-Fi that night, so I spent the rest of the day making the little pixel art insignia emblem the game allowed you to make that would show up as a flag next to your name online. It needed to be memorable and intimidating, so that when I became famous for my skills people would remember me. The first game I played I finished in dead last. I stopped playing for a week. I was devastated. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.